Welcome back, everybody, to your three-man booth. We are heading into week 3. I'm Dan Salem with Phil and Bud. Before we jump into our ATS picks, I think all three of us would like to say a toast to the 2020 season. After 2 weeks, it's more or less over for the two New York football teams, or at least it feels that way. Maybe the Giants are still hanging in there. But
listen, we just signed Devontae Freeman. We're ready to go. And let me tell you something. About Dallas over here. If that's not the luckiest sons of bitches in the world, there's no chance in hell they should have won that game. No chance. They should be 0-2. Philly should be 0-2. Washington.
They are 0-2.
They are 0-2. All right, they're 0-2. Washington's 1-1. I mean, yes, it's week 2, and the Giants have no business winning any divisions, but this division sucks again.
So, do you think the Giants can get to 8-8?
Oh, God.
No.
Right? As of today, probably not.
That's what they'll need to do to win the division.
Ask me in a few weeks.
Okay.
As of today, I'd say no.
The Jets need
Not without
12 or 13.
not without their best.
So,
Not without their best player. The Giants aren't going to get to 8-8. Not even close. And if Daniel Jones is turnover happy like he continues to be, not a chance.
yeah, I want to circle back on these quarterbacks later in the show because it's going to become a hot button as our teams continue to lose. But first, our ATS picks before we get off track. Phil, week 3 of the NFL season, we're all doing pretty well.
As I spoke before, Philadelphia is just – you want to talk about another dumpster fire in the NFC East? You're looking at it in the Philadelphia Eagles. Cincinnati, listen, they're not winning any Super Bowl either, but at least they give you that sense that they're competing. And Joe Burrow listen, don't let anyone fool you. Joe Burrow threw the ball 60 times last week. Yeah, he may have had great numbers, but he did it on 60 pass attempts. Now, with that said, they still have A.J. Green, they still have Mixon, they still have Boyd. I'll take the 6 points and I'll run to the window against Philadelphia.
Remind me, I got a good thought on Joe Burrow when we circle back on quarterbacks.
Will do. And then keep it on the theme of bad teams. Carolina just lost McCaffrey for 4 to 6 weeks. That's their entire offense. They're not going to – I don't see how they score any points in the next 4 to 6 weeks. So I'll take the Chargers and I'll lay 6.5.
Yeah. LA looks good with their rookie last week. So, but week 3. I know your first – who you got?
I'm picking Arizona over Detroit. Detroit looks terrible. As I predicted that they would be. That spread is 5.5 points, Phil? So
yeah, it's low.
I'll lay the points. Arizona looks like their offense just is great. They look so good, and Kyler Murray looks awesome. And shame on me, 2 years ago, Phil and I had this debate. I think I had the debate with you too, Dan, that you should go play baseball. I'm wrong. He's a phenomenal quarterback. And then I'm going to take the Colts and lay the 10.5 points because the Jets are a dumpster fire, awful organization, and I foresee this to be Adam Gase's last football game as the head coach of the New York Jets.
Yeah, that's a real possibility. So Phil's got 2 young quarterbacks. You're picking against 2 dumpster fires. I'm going to roll with 2 favorites. 2 teams are playing at home, have been winning. I like the Pittsburgh Steelers this week. They are only laying like 2.5, 3 points. What is it? It's real low. 3.5, sorry, against the Texans. And Houston, they got a decent quarterback, but they're just teetering on the brink of a lost year. So I like Pittsburgh at home. I also like the Seattle Seahawks at home. I'm going to say I was wrong preseason because I was questioning whether they could hold it together. They look very, very good. They are laying 4.5 against the Cowboys. And Dallas is lucky to have gotten a win last week. Let the Raiders push them around and was lucky to be in a position to win the first week, but didn't. So maybe they'll hang around, but I don't think that they can really challenge the Seahawks at home. Those are our week 3 picks. You agree with my pick against the Cowboys? Yes.
I mean, I've never seen the 4 Atlanta guys were watching. Do any of them know that they can jump on the ball at any given time? They don't have to wait for the ball to go 10 goddamn yards. I was so pissed off yesterday.
Yeah, sure.
Listen, you know why I'm upset, but that was the cream on top of the ice cream there. That just made me so mad.
Well, I turned the Jets game off at halftime, so I saw that. I saw the Giants fail to come back. I saw several other exciting finishes. Kansas City Chargers game was quite thrilling. Shouldn't have been.
Can I confess to you guys something?
Please.
I'm 36 years old. This last Sunday, was the first time I have never watched a single snap of New York Jets football.
Now, is that because you were working or is it because you're boycotting the team?
I was working, and I had every intention of watching at least part of the game, if not most of the game. And I was running around, and at 1:05, I looked at my phone.
105. I didn't sit down yet.
To check my fantasy, because I was still running around a little bit, and they were already losing 7-0. And I said, "There's no point." I did not watch a single snap. I watched the highlights of whatever that was considered. Yeah.
It was the first play of the game, and Mostert ran 80 yards, apparently untouched.
No, it was pathetic. It was untouched.
Untouched.
Now, the Jets, I watched more than the first half. I didn't watch all the third quarter. I turned it off because the Jets were in the game and could not get in the end zone. So, they gave up that 7 points. I think it was 14-3, and it should have been 14-7. They couldn't get in the end zone. Then Garoppolo gets injured, and they are legitimately hanging around. Bosa goes out with a torn ACL. They're hanging around at halftime, probably – I don't even know why. But backup comes in the third quarter. The Jets bully him, and then they give up another big play.
And Mostert should have had a second 70-yard touchdown if it wasn't called back for a penalty, by the way.
So their defense must have given up 3 or 4 50-plus yard plays.
In the third and 31.
Yeah. They gave up they had this 49ers at 3rd and 31. And they gave
31.
And they got the first down. So I think I turned it off there. I think I turned it off after that play. So it was.
So I was listening to a couple of sound bites, but I was listening. It was a sound bite from Joe and Evan today, and I wrote this down because I want to get your opinion on it. So I don't know what play it was or what part of the game it was, but apparently it was some fourth down play, and they kicked a field goal instead of going for it on fourth down like they probably should have.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the quote from Adam Gase. "I don't have a play I feel will work on fourth down against this defense."
Well, they went for it on 4th and 1 and failed earlier in the game.
No. You didn't hear the quote. "I don't think I have a play I feel will work on fourth down against this defense. A defense that was riddled with injuries." I leave it there.
What do you want from me? What are you trying to do? Like,
he actually said this was a quote in the post game. Like, he actually said this to the press.
Yeah.
But you're asking me as though like you.
No, the point was he's supposed to be this offensive genius, offensive guru, but you don't have a play.
He's not. He's not. He's not. He's nothing, and he's ruining our quarterback because I'm convinced that
people are turning on Sam fast.
No. I'm glad you went there, bud, because it's going downhill fast. Go ahead. I gotta roll that forward with these other rookies. Go ahead.
No, I just feel like, first off, he has no weapons. He has no wide receivers. None. Zero. Boom. None. No running backs. And I told you guys last week, if this team was going to rely on a 37-year-old Frank Gore, this team is going to be garbage. And it's already bad. They gave up that play, the first play of the game, and they looked completely defeated. And they looked as though they knew they couldn't win off of one play. The first play of the game, and you could just tell immediately this team was not – they didn't want to play anymore. And I know I harp on it, and I harp on it. This goes all to coaching. The coach needs to make adjustments. He needs to figure it out. If he can't figure out a play, and he says after the game they're down 21-3, he kicks a field goal instead of trying to go for a touchdown. They're close enough where they can figure it out. And he's like, well, I just wanted to get the offense, a little bit of boost of confidence. This guy is so full of crap. It's unbelievable.
Well, so I'm a proponent of the 5-year rule, but if the coach loses the team, he's got to go. And we've watched Jets coaches lose their team over the years a lot. I don't think Rex Ryan ever lost the team until like the second half of his final season. I can't even remember our last coach before this one, but he lost the team.
Todd Bowles.
He lost the team early in that final year, like real early, like around this time, and he never made halftime adjustments. Gase lost the team last year, and I don't think he ever got it back. And I don't know how he lost them so quickly, but he has to go. I mean, I really do think that a coach needs 5 years, a GM needs 5 years to put their system in place, get enough of their guys on the team to run what they want to succeed at or fail at. And so we're never going to get that with Gase, but he can't possibly survive October. He's at this rate.
So ultimately, Dan, it comes down to one person's decision on whether or not they want to keep Adam Gase, and that's Chris Johnson. Yeah. And Chris Johnson came out last week and said, Adam Gase is an offensive guru. He's a brilliant mind, all of these other things. That's because he's on the field during practice, and Adam Gase is up his ass, and he's talking all football with them. Chris Johnson makes baby powder, okay? He doesn't know football. He has no idea about football.
No.
If you have any knowledge about football, he's going to think that you're an offensive genius. Yeah. And he came out and said, we will make a decision if the team makes improvements, and we'll be able to determine that. This team is so bad. They are so bad, Dan.
I know.
It's unbelievable how bad they are.
I don't think
I've ever seen ineptitude like this since Rich Kotite.
Yes.
And Rich Kotite went 1-15.
So let's hope that the best thing Adam Gase ever did for the Jets was get them to hire Joe Douglas. That's what I'm praying, because I like what he did in his first offseason, and he's going to have a bevy of draft picks. So I'm praying that Adam Gase did that one solid for our team and didn't just destroy us as like a Miami jinx for 10 years, because that's what it looks like. But I want to talk about Darnold. We got Daniel Jones to talk about. We've got these other rookies, Kyler Murray, who looked pretty good last year and looks even better. Burrow's looking good this year. Josh Allen looks good, better, borderline tending towards great if he can stop throwing picks.
Let's pump the brakes on Josh Allen. He's played the Jets and the Dolphins this week so far.
Stop throwing picks. He's in control of his team. I'm not asking a lot from these young quarterbacks. I'm asking them to be in control of their offense and win football games. They don't have to be superstars, but compared to the brethren in his draft, Mayfield and Darnold and Rosen, who's out of the league, Josh Allen looks like a star.
Well, that's true, but Mayfield also had to play the Ravens week 1. Now, granted, Mayfield's not all the pop and sizzle as everyone claims it's supposed to be, but look what he did against Cincinnati. Cincinnati made him look like Montana out there on Thursday night.
But it was 35-30. It was a shootout.
You compare week 1 to the Baltimore when they got their asses completely handed to them.
I'm not ready to punt on any of these players. I feel like Rosen got a poor shake too, and he could probably halfway decent. Like when all of these players grade out in the draft basically equal, out of those 4 guys, the one with the strong arm is the one that's succeeding. It's not surprising. Murray was the number 1 pick. Burrow was the number 1 pick. It's not surprising that nobody screwed that pick up, and they're doing well. But I'm trying to figure out if we have to punt on Darnold now. I mean, Daniel Jones still looks decent. He's just got 1 year under his belt. There's no way to know where he's going to head. But Darnold's heading into the gutter, and I don't want to give up on him. I don't want the Jets to tank for Trevor, because I think that sets them back 5 or 6, 7 years. They could get a running back or a wide receiver, but only if Darnold can lead the team with another new coach. It's an enigma of a problem that our team faces.
It's possible one of these 2 New York teams is sitting in the top spot come April and having Joe Burrow in their lap, which I don't think.
Joe Burrow.
Trevor
Lawrence. To be honest, I don't think either one of our teams would pick him if they were in that top spot. As we see today.
Well, I got one thought, then I'll send to you. But if Joe Douglas is still the GM of the Jets, I don't think he takes the quarterback, and that's kind of why I like him. But I don't know.
I just feel like I've seen this story so many times, right? Like he has no weapons. He's clearly in an offensive scheme that has no scheme. The coach cannot coach it. Like and you look at the other quarterbacks that Adam Gase has coached. More importantly, Ryan Tannehill, who is playing lights out in Tennessee right now. like everybody was ready to send Tannehill off the pasture, and he's not a good quarterback, and this, that, and the other thing, and he's turnover happy, and all. He goes to Tennessee, and he takes them a quarter away from going to the Super Bowl, and now everyone's like, "Oh my God, Ryan Tannehill's a great quarterback." It's got to be Adam Gase. I'm telling you, it's got to be Adam Gase. Like, and I would hate to give up on Sam, and Sam goes someplace else, and he turns into Ryan Tannehill, because that's what the Jets have been looking for.
Well, it begs the question: can he succeed on the Jets or not? And I think he can. I mean, he might actually be the reason that they looked like they were still in that football game, even though San Francisco wasn't letting them in the end zone. I mean,
Sam didn't play poorly on Sunday.
He played very well, but he couldn't get the team in the end zone. And I don't know that it's not all on him, but
Adam Gase turns around and he says, "Oh, I'm trying to protect my young quarterback." You're not protecting him by throwing dink and dunk 3-yard passes, because the defense already knows that you're not going to stretch the field out. The defense is going to put 9-10 guys on the line, and they already know what the play is going to be. He's not letting him throw the ball downfield. That's because they let Robbie Anderson go for $2 million because they wanted to get their panties in a bunch over it.
Well,
they have no wide receivers. They have no deep ball threat. Perriman got hurt again. Shocker, he's been hurt his whole career.
Well, I was gonna defend Douglas. They brought Perriman in. They brought Crowder in. All these guys got hurt. so you can't plan for injury but you should have depth, and they have no depth again, and it's killing them at those positions. That wasn't that wasn't their problem though against the 49ers. They were completing their passes. They were moving down the field. I do think it was the play calling. When they got inside the 20-yard line, something changed, and they were not getting in the end zone. Now, San Francisco played better defense, but
not only that, even the turf was trying to help you out by taking all these guys out from the Niners. Listen, that's such crap. Give me a break that the turf caused all these injuries. Stop it.
I'll admit it was my first thought when Garoppolo and Bosa and Samuel all went out with knee injuries.
Saquon Barkley just tore his ACL. Was that because of the field? No.
I don't know. There must have been 7 ACL injuries last week.
Don't blame it on the turf at MetLife Stadium. Give me a break.
I'm wondering if they had 1 week of games, right? So your body can handle 1 week. But this is the first time that they've had a 6-day turnaround before playing another football game. They never had this yet, right? This is literally the first time this season that they've done it. When you normally kind of do it in the preseason, and you play a quarter, then you play a half, then you play 3 quarters, you ease your way in.
I think we had this discussion last week about preseason, no preseason. This will never happen again. There will be preseason from now until the end of time for this exact reason.
Yeah.
There's no way they're never going to have preseason again unless something drastic happens, like another pandemic. But
Cortland Sutherland's out, the Drew Lock's out, all these players week 2. The list
is this big.
And I'm wondering week 3 is going to be worse.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think this is going to be the worst week we see. To your point, everyone's bodies are getting adjusted to playing the shorter schedule, getting hit, getting healed. So I feel like at least every year there's 1 week where it's just catastrophic, and then it just kind of levels off.
I was going to say that. Is this kind of, we didn't have preseason to get injuries, so it's all lumped together type? Or
let's hope so.
Yeah.
My God, the waiver wire tonight for fantasy is going to be a zoo, an absolute zoo.
I play in a 12-team league, so it's slim pickings.
It's going to be even slimmer after tonight.
Well,
whenever your waiver's clear.
I went all over that quarterback for the Chargers because he looked real good against Kansas City. And
but he was told that as long as Tyrod Taylor is healthy, he is the starter.
Okay.
That'll last. Well, I'm stuck with Carson.
That's what the coach said.
I know. Listen, Herbert almost beat the Kansas City Chiefs last week.
He looked good, man. Why would you put Taylor back in? What do you put?
Yeah, exactly.
He already almost won. I mean, I have Carson Wentz and I have Phillip Rivers.
That's like and then going back to Fitzpatrick when Miami finally flips that switch.
So here's a thought: is Carson Wentz on a short leash in Philly?
There's no one behind him though.
No, I just mean like this is the final season.
And they threw a ton of money at him too. So I mean, they would need to figure out. I mean, I know there's no guaranteed contracts in football, but a lot of that money was up front, like guaranteed money. That's a lot of money that you're just going to throw away 2 years into a contract.
No, I know, but I mean, again, they didn't give many playmakers either. So this is another team giving their quarterback nothing to work with and expecting them to win. It's kind of ridiculous.
Speaking of quarterbacks that are relatively good, and it pains me to say that, did anyone find it interesting or odd that Dak had 3 rushing touchdowns on Sunday at all? Does anyone find that odd? Those were pretty much goal-to-go situations, and you're not going to give the ball to Zeke. He's gonna call his own number.
Well,
A little weird.
I'm wondering if him and Zeke got a little gentleman's agreement that he can run it in so he can get his contract.
I agree with Dan. I mean, it's a contract year for him. I mean, he's got to put up the stats.
Well, Zeke already got paid. If he wants them to get paid by the Cowboys, let him prove it on the field and win their game, right?
I want to keep an eye on this one because it's just, I don't know, interesting.
If I'm Zeke, I want the Cowboys to keep Prescott. I don't want to have to play with a new quarterback that has to learn our offense.
Listen, they should be 0-2 right now. They should be worried about winning games, not padding their stats.
You need to set aside your bias.
Not even bias. They should be 0-2 right now.
No, I completely agree. I mean, Atlanta blew that game, and they are not looking good, even though they're playing well. So.
Did you know that Tony Pollard started that game on Sunday? He got the first 2 carries of the game.
Did not.
I don't even understand why that would be.
You're telling me I lost my fantasy week because Dak didn't hand it off to Zeke because I wasn't watching the game. I have Zeke.
Well, if you lost by a slim margin, then absolutely yes.
No, I did not. I'm just
all right. I got shellacked too.
Yeah, it's been a rough year. So we like to talk. We got a bunch of 2-0 teams, a bunch of 0-2 teams. I think we all agree that the Jets and Giants are legitimately bad at 0-2.
Well, I would disagree with you on that. I think the Giants have shown a lot more potential, and if Daniel Jones does not turn the ball over in either one of those games, both of those games for the Giants are winnable, even without Saquon.
And they were
last week.
They were 4th and goal.
I know.
I think that the Giants are light years ahead. Although they're 0-2, they are light years ahead of the Jets, and I wouldn't lump the 2 of those teams in the same category.
So we got to see when they play some solid competition because I'm not particularly high on the Bears, and I think
the Steelers. How much more solid competition do you need?
I don't know. The Pittsburgh game was good, and I mean I'm not saying they didn't play competitively and like they were in every game. They had a chance to win both those games.
That's all you can ask for. I mean, if
right.
They're going to play like that and you give a chance, all right, then I can live with that.
I was watching the end of it, and there's something missing from them.
Listen, you're going to tell me that team wasn't deflated when Barkley goes out in the second quarter or first quarter, whatever it was? That had to – listen, I can't even tell you what happened the rest of that game because I was just like, whatever.
You have a choice as a football team. Are you deflated and sad that you lost your player, or are you going to pick it up to win this game?
Well, they were down 17-0 and pretty much – well, they didn't come all the way back, but they almost came all the way back. They were down 17-0 at one point.
They didn't let up any points in the second half. And I'll say this. Their defense that was going into this year saying that they're just going to hemorrhage points, they've done a pretty decent job of holding teams in check. I mean, Pittsburgh's a very good football team.
So then what do the Giants have to do to turn the corner? Because they are in a terrible division.
You just need time. You need time for that. 4/5 of that offensive line are brand new from last year. It needs time to gel.
So
you need reps.
Okay. So if they escape September with 1 win and October with 3, are they in position?
Well, if you're going to give me 3 wins in October and 1, then yes.
3 total. So they
So
they have 3 wins after 2 months of football. Will that push them over the edge? I haven't looked at the back end of their schedule. I'm just like there's something missing for me. But you're right. They are much improved. They look like they're heading in the right direction. I mean, this is Joe Judge's rookie season as their coach. So
there's too many new variables at the moment. New offensive line, new coach, new defensive players. No Barkley now. We're gonna go through another entire season with you're never gonna have your full complement of of offensive players because Tate didn't play game 1. Barkley was out the second quarter of game 2, and that's it. You're not going to see him for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Shepard's hurt. I mean, it's the same song and dance like it was last year.
I mean, contrary to the Jets who played 2 playoff teams, Pittsburgh's probably a playoff team. I don't think Chicago is. But we can see, like, the Jets last year looked just as bad, and then they managed to win 7 games. So I'm not really sure where these teams are going to end up. I don't think Atlanta's as bad as their record.
No, they're bad. No, their defense is that bad.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, it's not even a question. It's them and, like, Carolina, the 2 worst defenses in the league.
Well, I guess I can't argue with the numbers, but this is early in the year, and there's a lot of false information in these records. Like I don't know. I think the Dolphins are probably better than they're 0-2.
Well, they get Jacksonville on Thursday, and listen to me. I'm on board Minshew mania over here. We all wrote them off. And we all laughed that they're going to win 1 game. They're going to win more than a game this year. Well, they've already won 1, but you know what I'm saying. They're not going to be a doormat. Like we think
last year. Do we think that so the Giants just acquired a running back? Do we think the Jets do anything? Like if they fire Gase, the pressure is off. Greg Williams, I would hope, becomes the interim head coach. Is that do something for this team? I'm just curious. Like
the Giants had to get a running back because you're not going to put your team on Deion Lewis and Wayne Gallman. You needed something. And the moment Barkley went out, the first thing I thought of was Devonta Freeman's coming to New York. There was no doubt in my mind that was happening.
So, like, Antonio Brown is still out there. I know that the Jets aren't going to sign him, but I don't know why they wouldn't because they have nobody. So, like, it's just there's things that can.
Yeah, but he's gonna get suspended for like 6-7 games as soon as he walks in.
Oh,
yes.
I didn't keep up with
that. There's no point of even signing him.
I see. That makes sense. Well, there's got to be somebody else out there. I mean, I'm just not.
Well, Mohamed Sanu was out there, but he just got signed by San Francisco.
Okay.
He's the only healthy receiver they have right now.
Yeah, they need him.
I'm very interested to see what the Niners do when they come back to MetLife Stadium on Sunday.
Oh, I don't know. They'll have to change their cleats or something, but it looked to me like the field was causing problems for both teams.
But see, I don't buy that because the Giants in Pittsburgh played in that field on opening night, and no one tore an ACL that night. So don't give me that. I don't buy that excuse at all.
I was watching the football game, so I know you say that it's like an excuse, but the way the injuries happened, I don't know why it would be, but everything, you know how that looks.
It was just a bad week across the NFL.
All right. Well, it was. That is the truth.
That's what I think. It's just coincidence. To be honest with you.
Okay. So
the NFL did a thing on it on the field, and they came back and said, "Field was great."
It was fine.
Not the field.
That's why I don't buy the Niners given the field being the reason why all their guys. Listen, they still won the game. It's not like they got injured and still lost the game. The Jets were on the same field. How many Jets ACLs got torn up on Sunday?
Well, they lost a couple guys. There wasn't ACL injuries, but they lost just the same. What about the 2-0 teams that we think are phony?
Well, you said the Bears, so.
Bears.
I don't believe in the Bears. We got three of them, right, in the NFC West? Or 2? No, yeah.
I would say the Bears and the Raiders to me are like, I don't know about that one.
Well, and it's likely that one of the 3 teams in the NFC West are faker. I mean, because it's 2-0 Seattle, 2-0 LA, 2-0 Cardinals, and 1-1 San Francisco. No take. It's hard, right? It's hard.
You want to lean at Seattle's the cream of the crop of that division, but and they probably were the first 2 games they played. You can make a case for the Rams and not being great, and I mean Arizona's up and coming, so
the Rams have looked pretty good. So
they might be the first division that has because we have the extra playoff team this year, but they might be the division that has 3 playoff teams coming out of it.
Could they get 4? We got 3 wild cards, right? They could get 4.
Yeah, that probably won't happen, but because the Niners aren't They're one more injury away from just packing it in, I think.
Is Garoppolo done, or is he just?
No, they said
But
Garoppolo.
he's
He has a
day
chance.
to day.
I don't think he will.
Yeah, so then they should be all right. I mean, I know they lost their defensive
And
heart.
by the way, Nick Mullins is a very capable backup. He did good 2 years ago, and obviously against the Jets, I mean, he looked like Montana. So
No,
he can certainly play.
I gotta tell you, I didn't actually think. I thought he looked awful, and he threw a pick, and I think that he won because of the Jets, not because he was playing well. That was my impression of watching him. No, I don't remember him from before.
You want to talk about Burrow before we left, so I want to make sure you get that in.
So he seems to me like he's another strong-arm quarterback that's already succeeding very early. Like Josh Allen is succeeding, and I like that these teams are getting it right. And it's suitable that our team would have picked in a year where there was too many choices and got it wrong. But I don't know that they did get it wrong. It's probably just the team. I mean, Cincinnati's a dumpster fire, but Burrow's still doing well and pushing his team ahead. Maybe it's that they got a nice young coach, new coach that's fueling that fire. But I see the same things in Darnold, but he's in a position to fail, and I hate it. So I'm excited for Burrow because he looks good. Yeah, that was my.
But
thought.
they're letting him throw the ball downfield.
They are.
I mean, I know I harp on this, but that is the key to a successful offense. Like you cannot play within the 10 yards. You have to move the ball down the field. You have to, because then it sets up the run, it sets up the play action, it sets up the rollouts, it sets up the moving of the pocket, it sets up all of that stuff. If you're not going to do any of that stuff and he's going to take 2 steps and he's going to throw it to the right away, everybody's going to know what the play is.
So
Everybody.
Why do you think he's avoiding the deep ball completely in his offense?
Well, he said after the game, somebody asked him, can you alter the play? And he goes, I call the plays. I run the plays that are called.
Oh, Darnold.
Which basically tells me that Adam Gase is saying, you run my plays, you run the plays that I tell you to run, or that's it. Well, his plays are garbage. His plays are no good.
And you know when he succeeded? When he was with Manning, who would audible at the line every other play. So
Right. Where he had 3 different plays in his pocket, and he said he'd go up to the line and say, I don't want to. But how do you tell Peyton Manning you run the plays that I call you? You don't do that.
No. Well, that stinks because everything I've heard from Darnold, he's a real smart guy. He learned the whole playbook. He would know what to do. I trust him to make that call. It's funny. I wonder. See, I'm always looking for patterns, and I wonder if the young players that succeed are given that flexibility.
I don't even know if it's that. I wonder if it's who's ever calling the plays is calling the plays that are tailored to the quarterback, right? It's like they always hear the word system quarterback, but you're building a system around the quarterback's set of skills, and I'm not sure that's happening right now.
Well, they're not letting him use his arm. I mean, he's got a strong enough arm that he could take. I mean, do you know in the 2 years that Adam Gase has been the quarterback, Sam has 1 completion over 45 yards?
Yeah, and that's ridiculous because he threw deep a lot.
Okay,
Bulls.
yeah, Joe Burrow, he's played 2 games. He's got like 2 or 3 already. Let the kid throw the football.
Well, I mean, that's what wins. That's how Kansas City wins. I mean, that's how the Falcons or the Ravens have been winning. So, yeah, it's pretty pathetic.
So who do they have next week?
Who? The Jets, Indianapolis.
Oh, that's right, Indianapolis. Right.
I mean, it's possible Philip Rivers gives them the game, but I don't know if they'll take it.
But this is going to be terrible. It's going to be. I literally think that they're not going to win. They're not going to show any emotion. They're not going to be competitive. And I'm telling you, Adam Gase has got to go. He's got to go. You got to do it now. Just cut the head off.
I agree. I never thought I'd be that way for week 2, but I agree.
But it might be that might be the change you're looking for.
Giants, yeah, I think so. Can the Giants get their first win, Phil?
Well, it's set up to you're playing a team that's basically pulling out the B squad here because they're all friggin' injured. it's right. It's set up for you right there. There's no Sherman. There's no Bosa. There's no Solomon Thomas. Garoppolo's not going to play. Mostert's not going to play. Jerick McKinnon's playing his first game in like 2.5 years from his knee injury. And there's a bunch of no-name guys that also got hurt that I can't remember. I mean, if you can't win this game, then forget it. You might as well just lose the rest of your games all season because there's no point of winning.
As Jets fans,
Kittle should be back though.
Who?
Oh, Kittle. Yeah.
Kittle should be back.
Well, yeah, he might be back, but he's not going to be 100%.
Why'd you look says it all? Till next year.